There are calls for Special Counsel Robert Mueller to remove himself from some parts of this investigation. Senior political analyst Britt Hume is here with some thoughts on that. Good evening, Britt.
Hi, Brett.
I want to start by, obviously, this administration, this president with that cabinet meeting and the imagery trying to move forward, but yet still commenting on this investigation.
You know, it's probably a good idea for the president to try in some way to focus on what the administration and members of his cabinet are doing. He went around the whole table today with his, this is the first time he had his full cabinet confirmed in his presence, the first meeting since March, I think, but now it was a full group. And they all gave their testimonials about what they're doing, and I'm not sure how much of an impact it made, but it was a lot better than focusing on the rest of this stuff, which has been such a problem for him for so long. And yet, at the same time, as you suggest, over the weekend he was still tweeting about the Comey testimony. You think about it, Brett. The Comey testimony, in a number of respects, did the president some good. It made it clear that he had not been the personal target of the investigation, and that was a major claim he'd made which was vindicated. A lot of the stuff that was damaging to Trump from the Comey testimony was not legal stuff so much as it was the personal attacks, political name-calling, calling him a liar. A lot of the stuff that Comey said was a lie was really opinions that the president expressed. I don't think it did him any real harm. And there's an old saying in politics and PR, which is simply, don't nourish a harmful story. And every time, and look, if somebody calls you, accuses you of a crime, you have to respond to that. What you don't have to do is to get into continuing exchange with your accusers about what you may or may not have done, and thereby keeping the story alive, which is what the president seems to persist in doing.
Yeah, well, the president is a counterpuncher. He was as a candidate, as a businessman, and Senator Lindsey Graham and others are saying it's a different ballgame now. Britt, what about this effort? And it seems that some of the surrogates, Newt Gingrich being one, are going after Bob Mueller as somebody who shouldn't be leading this investigation.
Well, I think Bob Mueller, broadly speaking, has earned his reputation, which is a very good reputation. However, there's no question that he and James Comey were close friends. He probably didn't know when he took over this investigation, which, as we've noted in the past, Brett, has largely been a counterintelligence investigation and not even yet a criminal investigation. Nonetheless, the role of his friend Comey and his credibility now have come into play and are probably going to be a piece of this investigation. And it is a fair question to ask as whether Bob Mueller should be the guy leading the investigation into at least that piece of it. Now, whether you can do a recusal of some kind for part of the inquiry and remain as independent counsel or special counsel is unclear, but it's not an unfair point to raise that he has this friendship, and it does raise an ethical question.
Well, especially when you heard the testimony of Comey saying that he leaked the contents of those memos through a friend to the New York Times in order to spur on and create
the independent counsel.
Special counsel.
Yeah, and that's, and that's one of the things about Comey's testimony. I suppose he had to admit it, that he'd done that. But that casts doubt on his role and makes him seem less like purely a law enforcement officer trying to get just the facts and somebody who is trying to control the outcome of things, which is I think what some people have complained about with him in the past.
And quickly, it seems that the Attorney General asked for this to be a public testimony, open, not behind closed doors. What do you expect? Well,
I expect him to be an effective witness. He's seasoned at this. He was a prosecutor and a district attorney before he was a senator, so he knows the ways. He knows how to handle himself in these settings, and I think he's probably got a story to tell. And I think my guess is that he'll be an effective witness tomorrow.
All right, Brett. As always, thank you.
Thank you, Brett.